And we're live. Well, we're not. It's recording, but...
Number 9.
Number 9, David.
Number 9, David. When you sit back, you go from like being an absolute arsehole to being really pleasant to be around.
Fuck me. 10 seconds in, already
You want to see what this fella's
arsehole.
like off screen.
We're recording again.
Yeah, we're going on the... I've got my glasses on.
Yeah, we're recording again. It's been a couple of weeks since we have recorded anything.
I think it has. I think it's been... Must have been a couple of weeks. Oh yeah, didn't do it last week.
No, and
because the dog was in the vets and that was flipping...
And by definition, couple is 2, so we also didn't do it the week before.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
And we've obviously, I think, what we released now, 3 so far. So like live and feedback so far has been all right,
3 this week, is it?
Yeah, Happiness I think went out, didn't it? We got a new one coming out this week.
Yeah, made me unhappy, but you know.
Oh well, okay. So this week, difficult subject.
Yeah, we got beer. We got look,
lads. Cheers to all the gents and the non-gents.
Yeah, well, cheers to everyone.
Yeah, inclusivity.
Yeah, let's include everyone. Dog's down there having a whale of a time. So you can see his mates down
so
there.
this week, suicide and loneliness. Going to be honest, I think both of us have been probably putting this off for a little while. And
I don't feel over the moon about talking about it.
No.
Whereas you're ecstatic.
Well, I think it's an important thing to talk about. Yeah. Although something did just pop into my mind.
Oh, well, don't say it.
Well, I'm going to say it because I've said it. I've committed. And that's obviously we're doing this new inspirational quote thing now.
Yes.
And I wonder what that week's going to look like.
Don't do it.
Oh, you can't say that.
Don't do it. Yeah, so suicide and loneliness.
Yeah, I mean, I think men's suicide rates are absolutely horrific. I think there's a hell of a lot more, thought and support, I guess, for men nowadays, but it's still horrendous. Like
so high. It's something like please don't quote me on these.
Quote him.
Something like, if anywhere between like 21 and 45 is the biggest killer. Suicide's biggest killer of men, which is genuinely like, I can't get my head around that. It is so frightening. I was listening to a podcast recently, Stephen Bartlett. Again. If we've got to keep mentioning this bloke and he doesn't give us a hello.
People are going to think he's sponsoring us or something, and he's not, obviously.
We wouldn't be sat here in my flipping gaff. We'd be sat in a luxury...
Nice. Fucking Life of a Private Chef. That's your other podcast. And the book.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
What was I saying? I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying? I've had like one mouthful of beer. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You were saying about Stephen Bartlett.
Oh, yeah, and he had a psychologist or something on there. And he was saying that... men's suicide has always been really high for a long time, but it's just come into a point now that it's just become like noticeably high. Yeah. And it's so I'm just going to fire this out there. How do you feel about like being on your own? Would you go? So I love going out. I would go to the pub on my own and have a pint. I've been to the cinema on my own. I'd sit in a restaurant on my own. I'm quite happy in my own company.
I do like being on my own. But I think being on your own and being alone are 2 very different things.
Completely. That's what I was trying to see if you were going to say about being lonely.
Yeah.
And loneliness. Is that my...
No, I know what you mean. I think.
But basically, I'm quite happy to be alone, but I've been lonely before. Oh my God, I hate feeling lonely.
Yeah.
It's...
But do you think as well, I think some people, and when I say some people, I'm only drawing on conclusions from my own experience. I'm not making assumptions, but some people confuse being alone, or not confuse, merge being alone with
loneliness.
being on their own, you know. Because like we say, it's cool. Like I don't mind sitting down on my own of an evening watching like a series of Netflix, or going to the cinema, or going to dinner, or going to the pub, like, on my own. Like, but I think it's very different. Like, so being okay with oneself, I think that's very different.
Being okay with oneself.
Very different. To being on, like, feeling lonely and being alone.
Have you felt lonely before?
Yeah. But I think I've merged the two. I mean, I spoke a couple of weeks ago about my own abuse, and I don't think I've ever felt fucking more alone. You know, sleeping on the streets. You know, kind of went from being in a huge family to being on my own. Obviously, I had my wife, or my now wife.
We're not going to say it.
We're not. And fuck me, I felt.
No, thank you.
I felt alone, worthless, useless, pointless, like all of those things. You know, I had absolutely nothing, and you know, there was a point where, you know, I lost Ria, and you know, then tried to end my life, take my life, because I literally thought, you know, unfairly to Ria as well, because, you know, she was, well, I was 16 and she was wanting a casual relationship, not a fucking psycho, as I was thought at the time, you know. That
was this in the Gareth Gates days?
Yeah, back in or the Young Rock, as I was told this week. No, not the Wrong Rock.
Wrong Rock. The Young Rock.
Yeah. And look, even recently, you know, within the last 12 months, there's been a handful of times where I've contemplated taking my own life. I've seriously thought about it. And, you know, even thought about how I would do it, and being close to doing it. But the courage and the love of the current of the current family, like I'm an exchange student or something, like
from the current wife.
my family, and actually the realization that I'm loved, because in my mind I think about. I visualise the knock on the door from the old filth, you know, and then being upset about it. And for me, that's enough to bring me back. But I imagine if I didn't have that, and if I didn't have that visualisation or anyone, I think it's an incredibly fine line, you know, between doing it and not doing it. And I genuinely upsets me to think about, you know, men, I'm not going to beat around the bush, like men that are out there on their own, you know, they might, it doesn't even matter, you know, they might have an addiction problem, they might be fresh out of a divorce, you know, there's all these kind of things. Or they might be part of a family. They might have been made redundant. There's a whole host of things, but there's a whole load of social fucking stereotypes that say that men have to be these strong fucking
have to
providers.
Conform in a particular box.
Yeah.
And then so men don't speak up, don't feel like they're.
And if they don't feel like they can provide, they don't feel like they can love, they can be the perfect parent, they can provide a house, they can do all these fucking things, they don't see a way out. And that's horrendous, and that seriously worries me, that people, and to think that there's people out there now, probably right this second, that have got a whole load of people that love them, but they just don't realise it. That breaks my heart, like, genuinely. I think that's pretty fucking horrendous.
That is horrendous. Also, I can see why people would do it, even though they had people that loved them. Because you can see, because when I wanted to do it, I don't know why I didn't. It just didn't feel like the right time to do it. I just felt like I was just worthless.
Yeah.
Just a waste of time for everyone. And yeah, I don't know what, I can't really remember what stopped me from wanting to do it. I just think I thought, oh, I better not do it now. It's not quite, I didn't feel like, I'm laughing because it's weird, isn't it? I didn't think, and it's going to sound really harsh, didn't think about anybody else. Didn't
No.
think about, oh, who else, like when you said about the family, it wasn't even about that. I didn't think, I suppose maybe a little bit, slightly, but it didn't really come into play too much because I thought I didn't think I was good enough to be here. I thought I was a waste of space. I thought it was like, do you know what? Let's give someone else the opportunity to have this air, and it sounds really full on, but it's how, I don't know, whatever. But it's how I felt. I just felt, and the word I always use is worthless.
Yeah.
I felt utterly worthless, and one of my problems was I used to treat myself in that way. I used to speak to myself that way, telling me I was doing like 15-hour days plus, 6-7 days a week, week in, week out, and still telling myself I wasn't good enough. And if I made like a minor error, it was like, yeah, it's because you're worthless, you're just useless. And no matter how hard it was like I was chasing myself all the time in this never-ending circle of uselessness. I'd be like, you're useless, and I'll try harder, and then I would just drop something. Yeah, so you dropped that because you're fucking useless. And then I'll be like, I better not drop that because I'm useless. And you go round and round and round. And the more you went round, the faster it got, and the more you got down like into the black hole. And in the end, I was literally like holding on for like dear life. And I could have easily have done it and just never, just been okay with it.
And it's not selfish, you know. A lot of people say it's a selfish thing to do.
I don't think it is.
It isn't selfish, and I think, you know, calling it selfish is just another fucking kick in the teeth.
From an outsider looking in, it looks selfish.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but from the way I felt, it wasn't selfish.
No, of course not, because you were effectively saving the world from your uselessness.
Yeah,
You know, you had nothing to give. You were just taking life and everything, and therefore you were cashing in.
yeah.
You know, but I bet there were people, and I know I've been called, and I think that the stereotype in this situation, this kind of situation, is, oh, that's selfish. What a selfish thing to do. Think about the people you're leaving behind. And that's another kick in the fucking teeth.
Yeah. It's like, do you remember, oh, you wouldn't because you don't follow football. There's a footballer called Gary Speed.
Don't know, no. Is he quick?
He was actually, he's a bloody good footballer. And he had a wife, I think he had a couple of young kids at the time. He'd retired from football, and I think he was maybe, oh God, he might have been, I'm sorry if I've got this wrong, he might have been 40, maybe early 40s, if that, possibly. And he hung himself and left no note. And I'm like, yeah, I get why he did it.
Yeah.
I get why he did. I get why he just wanted to go. He'd had enough. It just felt like he wasn't good enough. And people said he was. People said he was. I can't. We just said it.
Selfish.
Selfish. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Said no, he's not. He was not selfish. He just felt like that was what he needed to do. Yeah, it's not great, and it's shit. It's really shit. But he couldn't see another way out.
No.
And there's so many people I know that when you get to know them have had suicidal thoughts.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I walk a line of like light and dark, very much so. I'm like, I don't mean if I go into the dark I'm suicidal, but I know what my triggers are and I know what would tip me into that side. So I'm like always teetering. So I have to be very careful. That's why I like to live my life being content.
Yeah.
Because if I'm too high, it's too much of a drop down.
Yeah.
And that's when the darkness would come on. And it's like my dad's had suicidal tendencies for years and years and years, dear of him. Has been battling. And he says it's like just like this darkness that comes over him, like a blanket, sort of just falls over the top of him. He just can't get his way out of it. And it does feel like that to me as well. You just can't, like, whereas before, like up till sort of 6-7 years ago, I would feel suicidal for like weeks on end, more or less. Whereas now, I don't really feel suicidal. You might get a fleeting glimpse. It's a fleeting glimpse of like loveliness. You know what I mean? Like thoughts are nearly like, oh, fucking shut up. What are you thinking like that? Whereas before, it'd last for like a couple of weeks on end, 2-3 weeks on end.
It becomes a way of life.
Yeah, and I'd be battling every day, and you'd be, all right, mate, yeah, I'm good, yeah. And actually inside, I'm like, there's nothing there.
That's yet another thing, though, isn't it? Because it's like, yeah, how fucking lovely would it be to be able to go, no, dude, I'm not all right.
Yeah.
Actually, have you got a minute for a coffee?
Yeah.
You know? It's interesting that you say about this blanket that you talk about. And to be honest, you've brought it up a couple of times in the past, and I've not really mentioned or questioned it. Like, I don't get that. I don't experience that myself. Okay. You know, one of the
that weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have different suicidal or different thoughts. Darkness.
Well, it might just be that I don't get the metaphor, you know, like I don't get it. Perhaps I can't see or visualize what that's like. But you know, for me, it's just an impulse. You know, it's very much like, I'm going to go and put the oven on now because I need to make dinner. It's like, okay, I'm going to go and kill myself. Yeah, it's very.
See, mine doesn't come out of the blue like that.
Mm.
I'll have like a build-up of darkness, and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm not going to walk down that road today. I'm good with that. But it's like, so you probably wouldn't understand. It's if you're walking along and then you walk into a rain shower, and then you've got to walk like another 2 hours to get out the other side of it. It's basically that. It's like being hit with this wall of darkness.
Well, okay.
Or like the blanket idea. Yeah. And then you've just got to make your way through to the other side.
Out of the shower.
Yeah. And it's not, and like I said, I get dark now, but I don't get suicidal dark.
No.
You have these stupid thoughts. You know, I bet you if you spoke to, whether it be men or women, but specifically men, I bet you most of them have had some sort of suicidal thought.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if they haven't. I could name a lot of people that have.
The thing is, though, I think it's like people don't talk. I mean, I've not. You know, my wife knows that. my wife knows that. You know, I've tried to take my life once, and I've had many thoughts about. Sorry, Bogdan. Many thoughts of taking my life.
You're boring him.
She doesn't know that I've recently, you know, in the last 12 months, tried to take my life. I mean, she might do now. I think she's only on episode 2, so I've got a few weeks. But, you know, and I think...
But isn't that...
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Like, it almost feels like I can't tell her anymore. And I think that's not anything necessarily to do with her, but I feel like this overwhelming duty to my family, you know, that means that I can't tell her, and I can't tell anyone, because I've got a job to do. You know, I've got to look after my family. I've got to, you know.
So you're basically saying what we're trying to get people...
100%.
You're literally... We're sitting on a podcast trying to get people to talk. And that's quite cool in a way that you're...
No, I just get it. You know, I get it.
Yeah,
and I've spoken to you about it. And I think... I mean, look, I'm not going to fucking sit on here and pretend that I've got, you know, my life together. Do you know what I mean?
Who has?
Well, exactly. But...
Fucking
you know,
hell.
I totally freaking get it, and it's it almost becomes, oh, he's trying to kill himself again. Fucking attention. It's that kind of, yeah, I do think it's like really
But yeah,
important.
but sorry to, but
No,
that's why we're talking
Yeah,
about this,
100%.
because it's not about just. Okay, so if someone's happy like a lot, you're not going to go, oh, he's happy again.
Some people do.
But you know what?
Always happy.
Yeah, but you know
always. I mean, if you must have heard it. Oh, he's always. You can't be that happy all the time.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As in, you could say to someone, oh, do you know, I did feel like killing myself earlier. We should be able to talk to people like that.
We absolutely
There should not be any stigma. Because what's the fucking big deal of telling someone that? What's going to happen?
Nothing. Nothing is going to happen.
Other than you're not going to fucking kill yourself.
Yeah, and that's
So what's the big
important
deal?
thing.
I'm not saying that to you, but what's the big deal?
Big with a big.
I'm pointing at the camera, like to people that are listening, watching.
Someone.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
No, you're
Because
right.
there is no fucking big deal. It should be having a conversation about like, how you been today, mate? Do you know, I felt a bit suicidal earlier on.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Well, do you want to chat or should we meet up later on? Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. No, I do. And look, don't get me wrong. I totally agree with you, but I can equally understand, you know, why people don't. And I think, you know, my major point is that I think you need to have someone. You know, you need to have at least someone. You know, I've spoken to you about recent times, you know. I've got maybe one other person that I can speak to. And if you're not going to talk, because I get it. I want to be realistic, right? You know, you're not going to put a fucking Facebook status up going, I tried to kill myself yesterday, right? I mean, you might do, because you get these fucking knobheads that are like, I'm in hospital. Oh, you know, are you okay, hun?
PM me.
PM me. But you have to have someone. You've got to tell someone.
But you
know?
have got someone to tell. But do you feel like you're trying to be like the man? I don't. Do you know what? I need to.
Yeah.
Do you know? I need to be the man at the front here. The family behind and.
Yeah. I feel like I've got a duty.
But your duty also, and I completely get. I used to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
That one where I was like, I'm not going to tell the wife. It's good. It's good. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I did in the end. But it shouldn't be like that. It's like the family together. You're taking on the world together. You're not. The bloke shouldn't be the. But it comes back to that thing. I'm getting really pissed off with it.
No, I know.
It comes back to that
What are you
thing.
looking at now?
Your head's that big. I'm fucking just looking
hell,
at it.
What is going on? Is there like fucking...
No, but I'm
Frank
getting
in
it.
here or
I'm
something?
getting mad. Like, so I'm just like getting
over there.
having some.
Shit. Yeah,
But
no,
but
I
it comes
do
back to that
understand,
same thing of what we were saying earlier on about blokes having to be a particular way.
Yeah.
And it's not even. I don't think it's. When I was like that, I wasn't like, oh, I have to be like this because I'm a man. I didn't think that.
No, of course, nor did I. Yeah.
It's just ingrained.
Yeah. And also, what's
in-
the outcome?
What if you commit suicide?
No. What's how's the conversation going to go? Because let's be honest.
What do you mean? How's the conversation going to go?
Put a pin in that for a
Do you,
second.
if you cannot point sausage fingers.
Let's be honest.
Smell.
I would argue that 9 times out of 10, no one's got a fucking clue that you're that close to suicide.
No.
They've not got a clue. So it wouldn't be a far stretch to say that they wouldn't have a clue that actually anything's fucking wrong with you whatsoever.
No, well, I'm not sure what you're saying, so I've
I'm
got slightly lost with what you're saying.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying,
I appreciate you saying this.
Thank you, that's all right.
Because I was worried.
If you've got your wife up here, right, and we've got this, she's down here now, and we've got this imaginary kind of like...
It's your first analogy.
We don't say that anymore.
Do we not?
No, we don't need to let people know it's an analogy, remember? People know this isn't my wife. I mean, it might be. Hey! Sorry. So if we've got my wife and me, and there's no kind of concern that there's any worries, any issues that might be driving the suicidal thoughts, whether that be, job, money, health, if you're not communicating those things and you're just this man alpha feed, and it's a big step. If she doesn't think there's anything wrong here with any of the day-to-day life, for you to go, oh, actually, I tried to kill myself yesterday, when all she thought was, fuck me, he's in love, he loves me, he loves our kids, he goes to work every day, he provides for us. I think this is my point, is that
I'm hanging in there.
We as men are so good at just fucking towing the line,
ploughing through,
head
and down,
turning up and fucking grafting, and just getting on with it.
Thanks for getting there.
The problem is, if we shared some of that initial stuff and we didn't mind going, love, babe. Babe.
Love. You don't say love.
I don't know.
Bye, darling.
My mate Chris, he's northern, and he calls all women love, and it makes me cringe. Chris, sorry, babe, I love you to bits.
Sorry, babe.
But fucking, he's on the
Sorry,
phone.
Chris,
He's
he
like,
called you babe.
hello, love, and it's just like, ooh, like that. Anyway,
so your sausage fingers quivering then.
I think, if we were better at communicating and we felt able to be, babe, sit down, I can't carry on working 12 hours, 15-hour days anymore. I know it means that perhaps we're not going to be able to go on like 3 holidays a year and we can only go on 1 because, I just can't.
You speaking from experience?
I can't do it, no.
That wasn't a funny comment. That was actually a serious.
I just can't do it anymore. I can and feel able to be able to have that conversation, or we're not going to be able to do this and that, or we're going to have to scale back a car, or whatever it might be, and then the jump from there to suicide isn't as much. But fuck me, I bet that's a fucking preventative measure for your wife to be able to go, all right, let's work on it together. I can get a part-time job. But it takes, I think there's this kind of built-in freaking like pride that we have inside us that's like just portrayed on men to be this kind of like fucking, like it's really weird. You've got to be this kind of heartless kind of animal that provides and protects at all costs. But maybe also, we want you to be a lover, and we want you to be a perfect dad. And
maybe that's just part of a male makeup. Maybe that's not just society. Maybe that's just how we're built. Possibly, back in the cavemen days.
But we're not fucking cavemen anymore.
No. But we haven't evolved.
Well, I mean, some of us haven't. But look, of course, I get your point, right? But we've got to fucking change, because.
Of course, but if that's part of our makeup, then we need to learn how to deal with it. Yeah. So it's not about change, it's learning how to deal with it. Because I've learned how to deal with my darkness. I haven't changed. I reckon I could be suicidal quite easily because I know what my triggers are.
Yeah.
And that's not me throwing away flippant comments.
I know.
I know. Your eyes went. But it's funny, isn't it? You say about, like, you use the analogy of you and the wife, and you said
it wasn't flat.
Sorry, I haven't got the fingers. I need to do 2 fingers is 1.
No, it's like
I haven't got enough now.
Like a C.
So that's one hand.
Like a C. You need to do. That's it. No. C.
Like that. I don't know. And you said if we were just to talk, it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be as far. The drop wouldn't be as far. It would be a further. But I got what you're saying. I understand now just by saying to my girlfriend, I felt a bit shit earlier on, or I feel a bit shit at the moment. Like last September, I woke up and I had loads going on. It was all business based. It was all my own pressure on myself. And I woke up one morning, there was loads going on. This is getting to a point, so
Yeah, no,
just calm down. And I woke up and literally turned to my girlfriend and said, I can't do this. If I go on much longer, I'm going to have a breakdown. And do you know how that made me feel just by saying that for the rest of the day? I felt like I was fucking invincible for like the rest of the day. Still felt slightly shit, but actually in comparison to what I felt amazing. I got booked in for a bloody...
blowjob?
Blowjob?
Yeah.
Booked in for a blowjob? No,
Okay.
I didn't.
Sorry, go on.
We need to talk about that later.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realise we can get booked in for
Yeah.
this. I got booked in for like an ECG because I was having palpitations at night and everything was fine. But actually from that point on, just being able to pull myself away from it. And that's the worst I've been probably for about 4 years.
Wow.
And it was and I'd realised I was getting to a point. If I'd gone on probably for another 3 or 4 months like that, I'd have probably been on the edge of a cliff somewhere. I think I'm not sure this is probably not a good idea to be here anymore. So then you're in that thing of working too much, feeling like you can't say anything. But even before then and now, I would say something like, if I've had a crap day, I would go, I felt shit today. I still feel shit now. And just the lightness you feel from saying that is so crazy. I know people say talk, but it's literally just saying to someone, like you've messaged me before going, I feel shit today, or I'm a shit day.
And you just say, like, I'll fucking get on with it.
Yeah,
man.
fuck off.
But it's not always that easy. I think it's fair to say that, you've been on quite a journey of discovery. Like,
it is that easy for me now.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it's not. It's been sort of, oh my God, I don't know, a number of years to get like, it's probably 10 years.
And you are quite connected, like, with your inner self now, which is admirable, actually. I mean, it won't be a surprise. I get a lot of comfort from your calmness, and that's why I can send you a message and say,
"Oh, that's nice. Well, good."
Who I did, but it, and that, is. And that's kind of what I'm saying, I guess. Like, I think, in an ideal world, we would be able to speak to our significant others, whoever they may be, and be like you do,
How mad is that? When I just had this weird moment. How mad is it that all you need to, not you, but people need to say is, I'm struggling.
But that's the point.
But how mad is that that's so... And I appreciate it, because I still find it difficult.
Yeah.
But that's so crazy, that's difficult. You're struggling, you want to fucking die, but you won't say anything.
No. It's
That's mad.
It's fucking mental. Like, but it takes a lot.
And I don't think... Do you know what? I'm not generalising.
But you're going to generalise, aren't you?
No.
Oh.
No, because I just said...
Oh, okay, go on.
Sorry, if you listen to it back, you'll be able to hear
I
it.
will, yeah.
I'll probably generalise now.
You're gonna.
People that... This is my own thought.
Yeah, it's not general, we know. Yeah.
No, this is my own thought. People or so speaking from a bloke's point of view, that take their own life... Or like, I'm looking over there so I can see your fucking stupid face laughing. I don't think all of them are like nuts. All of them are like need help.
No. Oh, God, no.
I think...
No.
I'm not talking... I don't know, 50, 60... I reckon there's more people that take their life that aren't off their head. As in like, oh my God, I'm absolutely mental and I'm going to go on a killing spree.
No, I would say...
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Do you know, 100%.
Yeah.
I think... I reckon if there was any fucking, like... evidence or statistics
we're on a podcast now,
or anything like that, right?
That later.
I think it would be like 95%. It will be that high of people that were just your Joe,
Yeah.
public, normal kind of day-to-day, and it's just got far too much. They can't see any other fucking way out.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, and
Twice,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, and they just... It's not your kind of, what's his name, role mote or whatever his fucking name was, or whatever it was.
What are you doing?
What do you mean, buddy?
Do you want to take that off and leave it?
No, it was,
Oh, here we go.
it's too tight, too loose, too tight. I have to get it just right.
Well, your hand's swelling up or something.
No, it needs to be,
Fingers.
it needs to be just right.
You're saying Raoul Moat?
I did say Raoul Moat, yeah.
Wasn't
Do you
he a
remember
killer?
him? He was, yeah. He was, a few years back, and I don't think he probably wanted to... What did you just say? Other murderers are available. I doubt he didn't want to kill himself.
Do we want to go into detail who he is? Because I can't remember. I know the name, but I can't remember who he was or what
He was a guy that went on the rampage and was killing people. I think up north somewhere. But
That's quite a few years back, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I'm just using his first name that popped in my head oddly, but I don't think I get what you're saying.
He was mental though to do that, to go around killing people, like randomly killing people.
Yeah, but he didn't want to kill himself. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm making some assumptions. He was obviously killing other people, but I don't think
I'm slightly confused where you're going with this. Well, so you don't think he was mental killing people?
No. I don't.
You don't think he was?
Fuck off. I don't think he wanted to kill himself.
So what did he do? I can't remember how he died.
I think the police shot him,
I think you just used a piss poor analogy.
Well, no, I'm just trying to create a distinction because we were just saying, and I agree with you, that I don't think, and I think the bottom line is that I think the majority of people that contemplate or commit suicide, especially men, are normal day-to-day people without any kind of mental health conditions or or psychosis or something like that. That's what we're getting at. I didn't help the situation by going off.
Getting at.
Didn't want to do the situation by fucking talking about Raoul Moat or whatever his fucking name was.
I tell you what, we're not going to put that out as a clip.
What, Raoul Moat?
Yeah.
We are not.
Imagine if that was one of the chapters.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Raoul Moat. Yeah. And that's sad. That's really freaking sad. And what you just said about just tell someone. Doesn't need to be your wife. Doesn't need to be any. Just fucking send someone a message that says, I'm really not feeling happy today. I'm not feeling okay. That can be all it takes. Can be all it freaking takes. You've done it, I haven't. Because it's a really dark and horrible place to be. And, it's never as bad as you think it is. And I'm not trying to judge. Everyone's got their own pains and their own, troubles but it's never, ever, ever. There's always an answer. There's always an answer to everything.
As we're having this conversation, my brain's in two because I can totally see and you'll understand. So you can totally.
I might not.
You okay there? Sorry if that's come up on the microphone.
Sorry, I was just
with him guzzling.
If I was going to get another beer at some stage, but probably not.
Probably not. No. You're not allowed.
No.
But also, I can see both sides. The side of the person that wants to do it. So I'm like, yeah, I get that. I get why you don't want to tell anyone. Actually, you feel like you're shit and you want to be done with it.
Yeah.
But then also, I can see the sides it's so easy to not do that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to go, like you say, man, I'm feeling a bit shit today.
Yeah. Let's just revisit that fucking, reasons why people do it, it is that, and it's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about things we have spoken about and things we're going to talk about. I suppose what it comes down to is the expectations, the social expectations of a bloke.
for some people. For me, it wasn't.
That's interesting because I feel like you're saying but you're kind of
No.
not
But from my point of
committed.
view, for me, it wasn't.
You thought you were useless.
Yeah. Bottom line, that's it.
Compared to what?
Compared to no one, I didn't compare myself to anyone.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, I'm useless compared to X. I just felt absolutely worthless. That was it. Bottom line.
But you were running a business.
Yeah.
A successful business.
Yeah.
You had a family.
Yeah.
2 kids.
Yeah.
Mum and dad.
Yeah. I know.
Crazy.
I know.
Coin. Decent bit of coin.
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 No, wages weren't great, but I was building the business.
You were building a business.
Yeah, so I wasn't bothered about wages.
No.
I don't know. There was never any. Can you picture my face for some reason right there? Sorry.
Probably. Were you sniffing someone's arse earlier? Or
Sniffing someone's arse earlier. Was I
Fee's
sniffing?
arse maybe?
Was I sniffing someone's arse earlier?
We'll ask Fee when she comes home.
Sorry.
Fee.
Sniffing someone's arse. Yeah, I was actually. No, it's just that I felt. That's the bottom line. There's literally nothing more to it. It's not like, oh, well, is there more? No. Just felt like an absolute waste of space.
But how did you justify that in your head? Or did you not?
I didn't need to justify it. There's nothing to justify. It was like, you're worthless. Get rid of yourself. What's the point?
It's horrendous.
I know this. I know I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous, but so real.
How does it make you feel now when you think about it? Knowing what you've achieved, which I know is another point of contention.
I'm really proud, actually,
Of?
that I could have jumped off a cliff, and actually I didn't.
Yeah.
And if I'm ever struggling, like if I'm out running, if anybody sees me out running, they see me shouting at
You
myself.
won't, 'cause he doesn't
It's
really go out that
absolutely shut up. It's absolute. You okay? Right. Do you need to do something?
No.
Is it your wife calling you?
No, it was just... I got a Hugo cam, and it was just saying that
off you sometimes.
someone was talking, which I didn't know Hugo could talk, so I was just a bit confused.
Hello. He's communicating with Bogdan.
I think he might be.
No, I felt proud. No, yeah, I was saying about running. If you ever see me running and you see me shouting at myself, it's because when I run, I think all I've got to do is run. Like all I've got to do is get in the cold water plunge thing in the morning at 6 o'clock, when I could have been stood on the edge of a cliff and dead.
Yeah.
So if I'm a real, I'm slightly going a bit like that. But if I'm doing something that's difficult, I think nothing's nowhere near as difficult as the situation I was in when I wanted to kill myself. Nothing's even close. My life is easy compared to that.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that situation of utter despair, you don't see, as you probably know, you don't see anything. Just see despair. Everything looks like despair.
You see a way out, don't you? You see a kind of I don't want to / have to deal with it anymore. You know, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be alive. That's what it comes down to.
See, when mine was really bad, I wouldn't even try to talk myself out of it.
No.
I just worked my way through it. As in physically work. It wouldn't be like I'd mentally think, right, I need to... No. Whereas now I can mentally work my way through darkness and be like, oh, so it's fine, it's no biggie. Give it an hour, give it 20 minutes, you'll be through it. But when I used to have it really bad, it would be, just don't worry about it, it's fine. Just push it to the back of your mind. It would just be there, just this I don't know, just this black thing.
I think, I'm no medical professional, but no, I did it in that voice. I think that's a bad thing to do. Push it to the back.
Completely, yeah. Well, I've learnt that.
It's because it's there. It doesn't go away. Unless you tackle it.
Yeah, completely. Perfectly. I tell you what, this wouldn't even. You didn't even do this on purpose. I didn't go wink or anything. Segued into my next question.
Go on.
how do you deal with it? How do you get through it? What are your things that you do? Just before we go to that, actually, just because I really want to touch on that, because I think it's really important, because this has been pretty fucking full on. And I'm really surprised I haven't been bawling my eyes out. And so are you.
Yeah.
Do you know what he said to me before we started? He said, please cry lots, it'll be good.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't. He thought it, he didn't say it.
That's right.
What are your triggers?
Yeah, see, I think this is where we're different. So for me, I would like to think that I've got an incredibly high threshold for stress. And I talk a lot about this in therapy. I know it feels like I'm going off on a tangent, but just to add some context,
Nothing changes.
I kind of operate, if you've got like an axis of kind of, issues in life, I operate up there as a normal baseline. Some people might have, they might miss a, I don't know, fucking, they might get a parking ticket and it's like, oh my God, Jesus, we've got a parking ticket.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell. For me, that's like dropping a chip on the floor. Yeah, my normal is so far up, and that's been learnt from.
I was going to say, is that because it's always been like that in your life?
It's
always been really intense.
Yeah, because I've been through a load of shit.
Yeah,
I've been through shit. I've been through a lot of stuff that a lot of people, I'm not saying I'm unique, but a lot of people have not been through. And I'm proud to still be here.
Well, you won X Factor, you did well.
Fortunate it was Pop Idol, you prick.
At least I could almost said the right one.
Try and tell a joke, say it right. A lot of people, haven't experienced. And the reason I say that is, so I've got a really fine line between kind of just my normal and pushing myself over the edge. And it's normally, it's normally like an amalgamation of things, like a perfect storm. I have, what's those things called, those spinning things? Those things that you do like that on the table?
Oh, spinning, like a spinning top.
Yeah.
It's called, yeah.
I like to think in my mind I have maybe like 3 or 4 of those going all at once. And if I have to add a 5th, I enter this danger zone.
But I think that's like the analogy of the jar.
Yeah.
You put a few bits into a jar, and eventually the jar's going to reflect. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So triggers for me is not necessarily specific things. I need to have a certain harmony in my life, even if it's full on. Like, even if it's like fucking thunders, storm, like fucking lasers and guns everywhere. That's fine. That's harmony. I'm used to it. It's my normal. But I need to have those things. If you take away some of my rocks, like my family, you're right.
Yeah, and I was looking at the time.
What is it? 20 past 8?
20 past 8. Oh, okay.
Is that all right? Well,
yeah, I think so.
How long have we...
We'll probably need to wrap up soon, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What time's Fee coming home?
Soon.
What time?
Soon.
What, like any minute now?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Just waiting for
He doesn't ever take any signals, does he?
So, yeah, So, what I was thinking is, so it doesn't take a lot. And I just need one of those little things to be either removed or damaged in some way.
Yeah.
A good friendship, a wife, my wife, something at work, one of those pillars, and it knocks me out of sync.
Yeah.
And,
I understand
and
that.
that can then be enough to knock me over the edge. Yeah.
So what do you do to get through?
I remind myself of what I've been through, and how privileged I am to be alive, to live in this country. I sound like I've immigrated from like Iran or something like that. How genuinely privileged I am to live in a beautiful part of the world, with a beautiful family, great friends. I eat well, I drink well, realistically, I've got a roof overhead. There are a trillion other people
Yeah.
in so much more worse than I am. And I just remind myself that whatever I might think, however bad I think it is, there's someone worse. I've been through worse. And even if I hadn't, just having a conversation with someone, messaging them, talking to them.
So I don't ever think
just,
like someone's worse off than me. I don't, because if I'm in a dark place, it makes no difference.
No.
I just know I need to just focus on the way I feel and know it's going to be okay. Exercise is a good one for me.
Yeah.
Certain types of music I can't listen to.
You
Certain
don't like
songs.
Limp Bizkit, do you?
Yeah, I'd like Limp Bizkit.
Do you?
Yeah, but that wouldn't. I'd probably listen to that if I was feeling a bit shit.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Sorry,
a
Limp.
weird thing to say.
Is that his name, Limp?
Fred Durst. Limp Bizkit.
Isn't he off Hal? Fred Durst.
No, that's bloody Fred...
Dinage.
Wow, Dinage, yeah.
Well, so hang on a minute. Are we saying that Limp Bizkit, that's not his name?
Fred Durst is the lead singer of Limp Bizkit.
Is that
If
not,
that's wrong, can someone please
is
comment?
his name not Limp?
Limp and Biscuit.
No, I thought Biscuit was his surname. Is it not?
You're taking the piss.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Mr. Biscuit.
You're taking the piss.
Taking the biscuit.
Right, yeah, so I do, exercise, all about exercise, and I know if I feel shit, I'm going out there, I'm kicking my ass up the road.
Wish we'd have more time to talk about the thoughts behind that, but and why you do that. But because I bet that's a whole new. Maybe that's
Really?
the next conversation.
Not really. It's just the reason I do it is because I run until.
We have got time.
And I run until.
Just
Yeah, if he's asking the question. I run until the thoughts go.
Okay. And that's how you get through it.
Yeah. And eventually, just the thoughts, I just bat them away. I'm like, I don't need that shit in my life.
No, you're right. Well, look, we have got to wrap
Talk.
up. On a serious note, just reach out to someone, talk to someone, message them, message us, send us a message.
Yeah.
If you're ever in a dark place, I'm not going to fucking, so it's, I mean, and I've said it all through, like, it's never as bad as it is, because I know that it does feel like the worst, obviously, the worst it can be, but there is always a different perspective.
Yeah. There's always someone you can talk to.
So
even if it's a stranger.
Yeah. I mean, we'll put, I feel a bit shit that not, can't read these out because we haven't looked them up on the online before we've
We
done
say
it.
about Samaritans. And,
We'll put them.
That's
We'll
fine.
put them in the post.
Just one. Sorry to interrupt. One
Oh,
last
yeah,
thing.
go on. Don't let me interrupt,
Steve
so.
Hudson has
Yes.
set up Bude Wellness Warriors.
Yep.
Great, honestly.
Yeah, really good guy.
I met him for the first time the other day. I can't express enough how much of a brilliant job he's doing. It's like 100 odd people in there, and he does walks, runs, just meeting up, just a group. So if you're in Bude and you want to join up to that and you're a fella, just get involved in it. And
Yeah, they're doing a run on a Tuesday.
and a dip
Where is
down
it?
at
Half six.
6 o'clock
6
at
o'clock.
Pedrick's Mill.
Pedrick's Mill. Okay.
And 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning for Sea Pool Dip.
Yeah, and that's great. You'd be so
Cold
surprised.
water plunge.
So surprised.
Yeah.
So
It's a
fucking
lot
surprised.
worse than what it feels. What you think.
It's a great analogy, actually. But yeah, look, stay strong. Always someone that loves you out there. Always someone that needs you. Talk to someone. And yeah, we will see you next time.
Yeah, next week. Okay, now.
All right,
We're
Dave.
trying to make a.
Is it time for another beer now?
No.
Oh.
Right, love you all.
Bye.
Put it there. Put it there. Put it there.
Yippee!